Hi, I'm Ashley.
I'm Bryony.
And recently we had MAP come to our school talking about sex and relationships. And because they did that, we realised how little I actually had through my younger life.
By the time we got into year 5, we were skipped out on the sex education because apparently we weren't mature enough.
So I remember being showed an extremely graphic woman giving birth. It was literally just a full frontal shot of her vagina and lots of noise.
Mine didn't even have sound.
So it was just a quiet, silent video of a vagina.
Silence of a woman giving birth.
I know someone who had to watch, what was it? It was a horse. Watching a horse giving birth. With so little being shown in schools, I think teachers are afraid of it, and so are parents. I have nightmare after nightmare of pregnancy, and that was because, you all get the pregnancy stories from your mom. The way my parents taught me, which is more I got in school, I will admit that, was you have sex, you get pregnant, you have a baby, end of your life. Or have sex, you get pregnant, or you get a disease. That was how I was taught. To be almost afraid of sex, when now I should have the mindset that sex is for pleasure and showing intimacy between you and your partner, or you or whoever you choose to have sex with.
So if we feel this way about sex education within school, I wonder how other people must feel.
Yeah. So, did you get any education throughout your school experience?
Not really. Got some videos of cartoon characters messing about.
So if you didn't learn it in your school experience, how did you learn it?
Through mates, watching pornography.
Right.
In prison, you could get porn mags, but you wouldn't get any education about sex education or anything.
So you didn't learn it in school, you didn't learn it in prison, and there was a lot of sex myths that went around high school. Yeah. Do you agree? So which ones did you hear as a young person? How did you find out that they weren't true?
That you can wank until you go blind. Well, that ain't true, is it? That you can catch an STI from the toilet seat.
How do you think your sexual education was at school?
If we started at the word atrocious or almost non-existent, it was pathetic. It was frogs.
Really?
Yeah, diagrams of frogs in books and nothing more than that.
How does that set you up for life then?
No, not at all. It just left me very naive and potentially vulnerable, and trying to find out in other ways what was going on, and that was generally through my peers and what they were saying or bragging about, and it wasn't factual stuff at all.
Have you got any stories about what you were taught at school, or?
No, I could tell you one story, that my dad actually phoned me up once to direct me to a box file in the garage, and I didn't know about it. And I was looking, and actually he directed me straight to where a sex ed book was, and that was it. And I was furious. I wasn't impressed with that at all. Really? Just went back, no, can't find it, and then just put the phone down.
I think I was about 14, and we watched a dreadful video called Johnny Condom, which was a red singing condom. That's all I can remember. It was red and it sung, and it had lots of condom friends. And then when we were about 15, 16, the boys and girls got split apart and taken into their classes, and the girls got taught about tampons and given a little purple bag, by which time you're 16. And so it's very, very late, and we all sat there for 3 hours being really, really bored.
I only had a few lessons in primary school, absolutely nothing in high school other than a bit in biology about periods and such. There was nothing about contraception. Teachers were quite awkward and didn't really know how to behave.
As you grew older, did you hear any myths about sex that you found out to be not true?
Oh, yes, loads. I heard that condoms made it worse. Most of my education I got was through pornography, which I don't think is healthy for anybody.
What are the problems that young people might face if they don't actually get good sex and relationships education within the schools?
The idea of sort of consent and things, they really need to be talked about, because that needs to take a forefront when you're developing sexual relationships. And then the relationship part is really important. It's something we do still skim over in schools constantly. And that's a really vital part, because we sometimes forget that there is a relationship built up in sex. Even if, you can say a one-night stand doesn't necessarily mean a relationship, but there's a connection made, and that's an emotional connection that we need to be explaining to young people. It's normal.
So the things that people have been saying has been really interesting. So what's your ideas on maybe pressure and peer pressures?
I think it's more of a high school thing that, like, by the time you're 16, because you're the age of, like, you know, you should have had sex by the time you're 16.
I think there is a pressure in schools like, oh, have you lost your virginity yet? Maybe the young people may feel pressured into doing it from their friends, maybe even from the person that they're having sex with. Like, if you don't feel comfortable in the situation, it's not right for you, you should feel comfortable enough to say, this is not for me.
It's just a personal thing, isn't it?
It's sad that people feel pressured during school now, and that they feel, I have to say yes to this person because I want my friends to think better of me because I've had sex. But that's really upsetting to think about.
But it's weird because, like, by the time you hit sixth form, like, no one cares anymore.
When I was about 12, I was in a big friendship group, and I was quite different to them. They had all started watching porn at that time. I was one of those people who didn't, and I felt like I didn't fit in with the group. All these myths that I'd never heard of before, that men have to have big penises, how they can do things to their partner that they will like. What I was taught by my mum and my dad, the reality is a lot different. It's what you feel. It's about your connection with your partner.
Social media has kicked up massively. 99% of people that I know, all of them have Facebook. And you know what's on Facebook? You have links to pornography. People are sent spams to pornography. But if that's what they base their sexual morals off of, that could give a lot of young boys and young girls maybe the wrong message.
Porn isn't normal sex. It's very little women who are going to, like, want to do the kind of stuff that you see in porn.
It's acting. You see these porn stars, they've got the perfect slim body, maybe the big old bum and stuff like that. But if they feel like, I have to look that way, I have to look a certain way to have great sex, I don't look like that porn star, so he's not going to enjoy himself.
How do you think pornography today has influenced young people's views on sex?
It's so available, readily available online. Kids of any age can pretty much go in, and I think there should be some restrictions on it. And it's a big problem if they're not listening to decent sex ed at school, or they're not getting decent sex ed at school. And where's the emotional side of it, or the intelligent side of it? It is all just ram bam, thank you ma'am, body image, and it's false. It's not the way that real people exist, and it puts a lot of pressure on kids. And at the end of the day, the sex ed and starting it all properly, you just want children to be safe and understand a lot more than how they do now, and not feel worried about being judged about stuff too.
Did you get anything about, like, the different sexual communities, like lesbians, gays, everything like that in your high school, maybe?
They don't teach anything about gay sex.
It's all like heterosexual, isn't it?
They feel uncomfortable, like, you're talking about, like, their sexuality because they're not encouraged that in school, and they should be, because there's nothing wrong with being that. Like,
bullying is a massive thing, especially with the different kind of sexual communities. And I think that might possibly be, from my opinion, is that they don't understand it. And if they were taught it, we know everything there is to know about heterosexual relationships. We understand it. So it's not made fun of. No one makes fun of it. But if it was taught in maybe primary school to high school, this is what boys can like boys, girls can like girls. And it's a general thing as well. Like, people use gay as a insult.
Yeah.
When actually it's just a sexual preference.
My school prepared me quite well. I did it in primary school through to secondary.
Would you say it was quite restricted from, like, people from other orientations, genders, and what they look for in relationships?
Yeah, mainly because of sexual orientation. They kind of portrayed an ideal that biologically you had to be straight. There's someone I know at my high school who, when he came out as gay, and he liked a guy, the friends with the guy that he liked, they, like, physically hurt him and stuff like that, and bullied him a lot for his orientation and the fact that he liked this guy. So I guess in a way it's kind of worrying that if somebody comes out and people treat him like that, that could be a problem that people face and they don't want to come out, that kind of thing.
So from all we've discussed and from everything we've heard from the interviews, Don't we think that there should be more SRE taught within schools? We should be more open about what we talk about and how many different things are taught as well.
Yeah, everything that we found out today, we really hope that it will influence more of a support system within schools, so all kids, age whatever, to go and feel comfortable talking about their sexual, maybe whatever preference, whatever they feel comfortable with to teachers, because I think they're afraid to at the moment. So message to you teachers, make sure your students feel comfortable coming to talk to you, because there's not a lot of other places that they can.
Thank you for watching from me and Ashley.
Bye!